Arnold is an American content creator and YouTuber known for his travel, culture, and reaction videos that explore life and traditions around the world.
That banks are going to embrace Bitcoin. So your bank's going to give you a loan against your Bitcoin. It'll buy Bitcoin for you. Insurance companies will start to support Bitcoin. I think families will increasingly begin to see it as their savings account. The yoga studio, the restaurant, the hotel chain, they'll be able to raise capital in order to improve their business and to innovate. And I think that's
the biggest Bitcoin catalyst of this cycle isn't a price breakout. It's a decision most investors aren't even watching. Something bigger than another Bitcoin rally may be unfolding, and most investors are focused on the wrong signal. While headlines continue chasing daily price swings, Arnold points to a far more important shift taking place behind the scenes. The real story isn't whether Bitcoin rises tomorrow. It's whether Bitcoin is becoming a permanent pillar of the global financial system. That possibility becomes even more compelling when Bitcoin is compared with gold. Both assets have struggled through recent market weakness. Yet Bitcoin now appears to be entering a stabilization phase. Historically, these quiet periods have often laid the foundation for the market's most explosive moves, making the stage worth watching closely. But the biggest catalyst may have nothing to do with charts. Instead, it revolves around regulation. The Crypto Clarity Act could reshape how digital assets operate in the United States by providing the legal certainty institutions have been waiting for. Even more interesting, organizations that previously resisted crypto legislation are beginning to soften their positions, removing barriers that once slowed progress. Adding to the momentum, SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce remains optimistic that lawmakers can move the bill forward soon. If regulation finally catches up with innovation, Bitcoin's next chapter may be driven not by speculation alone, but by institutional confidence, policy certainty, and long-term financial adoption worldwide. If you found this analysis valuable, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth crypto market insights and the latest Bitcoin updates.
Soon.
Crypto is becoming infrastructure that powers financial markets. I think increasingly crypto and traditional finance will merge.
But I actually think that where Bitcoin is going is as a strategically important asset for the United States.
Here's Bitcoin to gold. Gold is going down. Bitcoin had been going down. It seems to be in a bottoming process. We believe that it has bottomed on this basis and will resume the very volatile but broad uptrend that you see on this chart.
The Crypto Clarity Act passing is the one crypto bull catalyst everybody seems to have already counted out. But what happens when the largest capital market on the planet finally gets clear cryptocurrency regulation? Most people don't realize the Senate has been working on this every possible day they can be working on it to pass this summer and certainly before midterms. And we're finally starting to see the dominoes fall into place. Two massive wins for the Crypto Market Structure Bill Clarity Act in the last 24 hours. First, the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives endorsed the Clarity Act, becoming the first major law enforcement agency to support it. Now, the major county sheriffs of America have shifted their stance from against to neutral on the Crypto Market Structure Bill. The takeaway is this: two major law enforcement agencies have just flipped bullish, have stopped blocking, and now are either neutral or support the Clarity Act. We are getting closer. So SEC Commissioner, who has worked on Senate committees before, she understands what the Senate is doing to get this passed quickly. When she puts her reputation on the line like this and says, "I'm still optimistic it will get done this summer. I expect we'll see it pass soon," she's speaking from a place of knowledge and understanding on if this is actually possible.
I'm still optimistic that it will get done this summer. It's a lot of hours of work have been put in by a lot of people, both in the House and the Senate, and there's still a lot of work happening now. So I expect that we'll see it pass soon. It's legislation is very hard. I know that from the time that I spent on the Senate Banking Committee. There are a lot of moving pieces, and this is a big piece of legislation, and it's trying to do a lot of hard things too. So
the next Bitcoin breakout might not come from hype or having cycles, but from a shift nobody is fully prepared for. What if Bitcoin's next breakout has less to do with market hype and more to do with decisions being made behind closed doors? That's the question Aaron Arnold's analysis brings into focus. While investors continue watching price charts, the bigger opportunity may be developing through regulation and the evolution of blockchain itself. Bitcoin still needs stronger price momentum, especially for companies like Strategy, whose performance is heavily tied to the asset. But what could spark that momentum? Improving macroeconomic conditions are one possibility. An even larger catalyst could be the Crypto Clarity Act. If lawmakers approve a clear regulatory framework, institutional investors may gain the confidence needed to increase participation, potentially creating stronger demand for Bitcoin. Yet the conversation doesn't stop there. Arnold argues that the future of crypto extends far beyond speculative tokens. Could the next trillion-dollar opportunity come from tokenized real-world assets instead of meme coins? As stocks, futures, private markets, and other financial instruments gradually move on-chain, blockchain transforms from a trading platform into the infrastructure powering modern finance. That shift could redefine how value moves across global markets. Bitcoin remains a flagship digital asset, but the broader ecosystem may ultimately be driven by assets backed by real utility, creating a stronger foundation for long-term cryptocurrency adoption and institutional growth.
Not all that difficult.
Okay.
Now, part of that, of course, we do need to see some appreciation in the price of Bitcoin.
Right.
That goes without saying. The strategy is effectively a levered play on Bitcoin, for good or ill. And I think what we've seen of late has been for ill. But that can switch very quickly, either due to improving macro conditions, ones that are more conducive to Bitcoin's price being higher, or regulatory changes. We still have the Clarity Act, which would create a regulatory framework for crypto in the U.S. before the U.S. Senate. It still has to come to a vote. But if that vote does occur, and there's a possibility it could happen in July, we could see a real boost for Bitcoin and, by extension, for...
I believe that the future of crypto is in real-world assets. If an asset is not tied to underlying utility, if it's not a productive asset, what's the benefit of making another million different meme coins? There's an evolution where crypto is becoming infrastructure that powers financial markets and, in particular, real-world assets. So tokenized stocks, you'll have tokenized futures, tokenized privates, which is an area that we're also very deep into. Everything that is running on traditional rails will eventually become on-chain tokenized. I think increasingly crypto and traditional finance will merge, and not to say that, Bitcoin is going to become less important or meaningful, but I think that what drives crypto growth will be real assets with fundamental utility utilizing crypto technology.
So what does all of this actually lead to for Bitcoin? A market driven less by speculation and more by structure? Or a full transition into something far bigger than tradable asset? As regulatory clarity starts forming and discussions around crypto legislation gain momentum, Bitcoin edges closer to becoming part of the traditional financial system rather than sitting outside of it. But does that integration strengthen its value or change its original identity? At the same time, the real shift may be happening beyond Bitcoin itself. Tokenized real-world assets are slowly moving from concept to execution, raising a bigger question. Is crypto's true growth story still Bitcoin, or the infrastructure being built on top of it? Volatility will not disappear, and cycles will still exist. But when regulation, adoption, and utility begin to align, the entire market structure changes. The real question now is not just where Bitcoin goes next, but what it ultimately becomes in the global financial system. If this shift in Bitcoin's future made sense, drop your thoughts in the comment below. Share this with others following crypto markets, and subscribe for more deep dive updates on what's really shaping the next cycle. Do you see Bitcoin becoming a global financial infrastructure asset, or is it still mainly a speculative investment cycle?